Every year, you spend money on fertilizer just to keep your soil productive. Now imagine a plant that could replace fertilizer completely. A plant that drives its roots deep into the soil, reaching nutrients no vegetable could ever access. This is the Comfrey plant, a plant that pulls those minerals back to the surface, feeds your crops, and regenerates itself multiple times per year. And once you plant it, it can fertilize your soil for decades, for free. No fertilizer bags, no synthetic chemicals, less plastic waste, no yearly costs. In the 1950s, agricultural scientists studied this plant and found it could replace chemical fertilizer entirely. That would mean almost no costs and no dependency. So here's the real question. If something this powerful exists, why isn't it growing in every garden today? Because the reason has nothing to do with the plant. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And here's the part most people miss. Your soil might already contain everything your plants need. You just can't access it. But here's what most people don't realize. If there's a plant that contains more potassium than manure, decomposes faster than compost, and constantly regenerates itself, why is hardly anyone talking about it? And this is where it starts to get uncomfortable, because the answer isn't about biology, it's about systems, the conflict between living nutrient cycles, and a model built on consumption. And once you understand that, everything else starts to make sense. Welcome to Rooted. We ask questions and search for answers that actually work in real life. Today we're opening a chapter of agriculture that didn't fail. It just didn't fit the industrial model. And by the end of this, you'll understand why this plant quietly disappeared, even though it was working. And more importantly, why it might still matter for your garden today. Today's topic: a specific variety of comfrey, a plant that functions like a biological nutrient pump. After World War II, Europe's soils were in a quiet crisis, and almost nobody realized it at the time. Fields still looked intact, but beneath the surface, something was breaking down. Years of intensive farming had drained the land of nutrients. Fertilizer was expensive, energy was scarce, and maintaining yields was becoming harder every season. So the obvious solution was clear: add more inputs, more fertilizer, more control. But that's not the path this story takes. Because instead of scaling the problem, someone stepped back and asked a different question. Lawrence D. Hills asked, what if fertility doesn't have to be bought, but can be grown? And that question sounds simple, but it completely challenges the system. Because instead of looking at factories or chemicals, he looked at something most people ignored: wild plants. And one plant kept showing up, again and again. Comfrey, unrefined, messy, easy to overlook. But Hills didn't ignore it. He looked closer, at the roots. And this is where everything changes. Comfrey wasn't just growing near the surface. Its roots pushed deep into the ground, much deeper than most crops ever reach. And this is where things start to get interesting. Because down there, in layers untouched for years, something had been. Minerals, potassium, calcium, trace elements, nutrients your crops can't reach anymore. But this plant could. It was pulling them back up, storing them in its leaves. Which means something most gardeners never realize. Your soil might not be depleted. It might just be inaccessible. And that flips the whole idea of fertilizing upside down. But there was a problem. Wild comfrey didn't stay where you planted it. It spread, aggressively. And farmers didn't want something they couldn't control. And this is where most ideas would have ended. But not this one. Because instead of abandoning it, Hills worked on it for years, selecting, testing, refining, until he created something completely different. A sterile hybrid. No seeds, no uncontrolled spreading. Only controlled growth through root cuttings. What used to be a wild plant became something usable, something predictable. And that's the moment it could have changed everything. But here's where things usually fall apart. Because ideas are easy, reality is different. So the question becomes, does it actually work? Field trials followed, and the results weren't subtle. This plant can be cut multiple times in a single season. And every time it grows back, it produces a large amount of biomass. Not just once, repeatedly. And when researchers looked closer, they found something unexpected. The nutrient levels were unusually high, especially potassium, higher than what you typically get from manure. And that matters more than most people think, because potassium isn't just another nutrient. It controls fruit development, sugar levels, disease resistance, water balance, which means this plant isn't just feeding soil. It directly affects how your crops perform. But this is where it becomes even more interesting, because it's not just what it contains, it's how fast it works. Most organic matter takes time, weeks, sometimes longer, but Comfrey doesn't behave like that. Its leaves break down incredibly fast, in many cases within days, which means nutrients don't stay locked away. They become available almost immediately, and that changes everything. Because now you're not waiting for fertility to build. You're cycling it in real time. And this is where theory meets reality. A small grower in the UK tested this, not because it was proven, but because nothing else was working anymore. So he tried it, planted Comfrey, used the leaves as mulch. And at first, nothing dramatic happened. But then things started to shift. The soil stayed darker, plants looked healthier, moisture lasted longer. And then came the moment that changed everything. By the second year, he stopped buying fertilizer completely. Not reduced, stopped. What used to be a yearly cost became a system that sustained itself. And that's the point most people never reach. So what's actually happening here? Because at this point, this isn't just a plant anymore. This is a system. This variety, Bocking 14, works on 3 levels at once. Number 1, deep soil penetration. Its roots open up compacted soil and improve structure. Number 2, nutrient concentration. It pulls minerals from deep layers and stores them in its leaves. Number 3, closed loop. Once established, it keeps producing for years without inputs. And that's the key difference. This doesn't behave like an input. It behaves like a cycle. Some permaculture systems call it a dynamic accumulator. It's planted under fruit trees, cut regularly, and used as mulch. And over time, something measurable happens. In one British orchard, this approach replaced a significant amount of synthetic fertilizer over the years, which doesn't just reduce cost, it reduces dependency. So if something works this well, why did we move away from it? Because it doesn't fit the system. Modern agriculture runs on speed, uniformity, predictability. A bag of fertilizer takes minutes. This takes time. And more importantly, you can't package it. You can't standardize it. You can't sell it the same way. So it disappeared. Not because it failed, but because it didn't fit. And yet, it still works. Using it is simple. Cut the leaves, lay them around your plants, or turn them into liquid fertilizer, and that's it. And over time, something changes. The soil holds water better. Structure improves, life returns, and slowly, you stop feeding the soil. And the soil starts feeding itself. Today, fertilizer prices are rising worldwide. Soil fertility is declining in many regions. And we keep searching for solutions, more inputs, more products, more control. But maybe the answer was never missing. Maybe it was just ignored. The question isn't whether Comfrey works. The question is whether you're ready to stop paying for something your soil can already do on its own.